everyone. Welcome back to the Sappy Hour. Today, I'm doing a collaboration with my friend Angeline. So, Angeline, how are you?
Hi guys. I'm great. I'm wonderful. It's a pleasure to get this opportunity to do this podcast with you. Um, before we jump into it, I would like to introduce myself a little. So I am a graphic designer. I am a freelancer and I also work at a company right here in Trinidad and Tobago. I also have a YouTube channel called Ange Animates, so you guys can check that out. Quick plug.
The link will
Um,
be in the description.
yes.
So, on today's episode, we will be discussing the movie Inside Out. And I thought this would have been a good option since it is a collaboration and my podcast deals with mental health and Angeline's channel deals with animation. So this was a good mixture of the two.
Yes.
And this movie Inside Out basically shows the life of this girl Riley and how her emotions influence her actions, especially going through a difficult situation like she moved to a different area and she had to go to a new school. So it shows, like the processes, sorry, that she has and the different emotional situations she goes through. So basically, the film kind of deals with two basic concepts. One would be the balance of emotions, and the
Mhm.
other one would be importance of having and embracing negative emotions rather than like brushing them away or trying to like disregard them.
Yes.
So I think that in the movie, you see the different emotions. You see fear, joy, sadness, anger, disgust, and they're all personified, which I think is really interesting because it shows the depth and complexity of an emotion. Because an emotion like sadness has so many layers to it, it's not just you being sad.
I completely agree with that. So just like in the movie Inside Out, like when they had to come out of the island of personality. And I mean, sadness was just there laying on the ground, sobbing. But at the same time, even though she was sobbing, she still, helped. She still helped Joy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sadness isn't always a bad emotion as it is made out to be. It
Mm-hmm.
actually is it's healthy. It's a I mean, it's sadness, but in a situation, feeling that type of way could actually, change the outcome of a situation.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. And I think that it in the movie, like you mentioned, the islands of personality, the movie also shows you like how your personality is very heavily affected by experiences and the emotions that you associate with experiences. And in the film, Riley has her islands of personality. So she has Hockey Island and Honesty Island, and obviously for everyone, their island would be different because it's
Yeah.
what makes your personality yours. So as well as I think throughout the movie you see the destruction of Riley's islands because like moving into the idea of the balance of emotions,
Hmm.
joy and fear get separated from the rest of emotions, and you see Riley's personality change as she's like controlled more by not like all emotions, just like by some. So anger takes control one time, and then she like has an altercation with one of her friends, and so friendship island for her like
Yeah.
falls apart. So you see very much how your personality is affected by emotions. And it's also, I think the film is also a good depiction of how confusing emotions can be because she feels so many things at one time in the same situation.
Yeah. And I mean like that I mean scene where you talked about where she felt angry and anger lit up in her mind, and the friendship island just, fell. I mean, it just goes to show how when there's like one emotion that just, yeah, you just have that outburst of one emotion,
Mm-hmm.
how it can impact your mind or the situation. It could manifest in your mind over time.
Yeah.
And the memory it was once a joyful memory, but because that emotion of anger or sadness or disgust overshine it, it becomes a bad memory, just
Yeah.
like the movie showcases, you
Yeah,
know?
I think they show you like how your life and your personality and different experiences are so extremely affected when you don't have a balance of emotions. And they also touch on coping. So, like, each emotion copes differently. So, like, Joy, when she was faced with a difficult situation, she like tried to see the best in the situation, or she would like bring up a happy memory for Riley to see. Or like obviously sadness was a bit more reclusive and she kind of wanted to give up, and then anger, obviously lashed out. So it shows you the different ways coping is affected by emotions. And also, I think that throughout the movie, where joy and sadness are trying to get back to the other emotions, they are like going through Riley's mind and they see all of the different things that, make Riley's mind works, like all the different mechanics and whatever. And I think that they see that like you don't really have control of much that goes on,
That is
except
right.
you can control how you react, so they control how Riley reacts to things, but there's so much things you don't have control of.
Like the scene where, it was her first day of school and Joy came up with this amazing plan for each characters, and fear, disgust, anger, and sadness. So she had a plan set out for each one of them to make sure that Riley is happy. This is her day. She is going to be happy. You know that scene. I mean, it kind of seemed robotic to me. It
Mm-hmm.
felt as though, Riley at the beginning, not Riley, sorry, Joy
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning just completely disregarded the other emotions. That is, I mean, throughout the movie, it was like that at the beginning, but throughout the movie, Joy learned that, these other emotions is needed. It is needed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sorry, you can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like what we were talking about, like you really need a balance of emotions. And when they were separated, the other emotions were really struggling to like keep Riley together because
Yeah,
not everybody's there. And you see how hard it is for them when they don't have the support from each other and they don't have like advice and guidance from one another. So like one emotion can't carry you through everything. So like the same thing you're saying with
exactly.
you can't be happy all the time. You need to have the other emotions to balance it out.
And you know what actually really stood out to me? But I was trying to figure it out because if you realize the characters in the movie, joy, fear, disgust, anger, and sadness,
Mm-hmm.
they all have a color attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a color for every emotion. And I mean, as a graphic designer, that is one of the things I paid most attention to in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
that really stood out to me. It just goes to show, well, right now I'm actually learning or doing a course in color theory,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it goes to show that, yellow is always associated with happiness,
Mm-hmm.
and purple is associated with, you're down, you're not feeling to do anything today, like this laziness, this loneliness.
Yeah.
And disgust, I mean, there's two sides to each color, but in this case, the colors were negative. The only positive color it had was joy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, there were a scene where they were sitting at the dinner table and they were having their dinner or lunch. And the mom, Riley's mom asked her what was going on. And inside Riley's mom's head,
Mm-hmm.
there were the emotions. And in her mom's head, the emotions came across as, very mature,
Hmm.
very well controlled.
And they had
But
wigs on. That was funny.
yeah, yeah. But what stood out to me, right, is the main emotion in Riley's head is joy.
Hmm.
But the main person in the mom's head is, I don't know, it's purple. The main person in her mom's head was purple.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that is associated with sadness, because purple is associated with sadness and Riley's head. And the other thing too is when the mom told the dad to, ask her or something like that in that scene,
Hmm.
and now the went into the dad's head now, and the main emotion or the main character in the dad's head was red.
Hmm.
And in Riley's head, red is associated with anger, but in the dad's head, it's not really anger. So
Hmm.
it just goes to show that emotions really are personified.
Yeah.
It really is personified.
I think that also shows you like well, I think it shows you one that they're different people. So just like the same thing you're saying, it's different for the three of them. And
Yeah,
then also they're all at different stages in life. So
exactly.
obviously, you know how Riley would deal with a situation and how she would manage her emotions is not necessarily how her mom would manage her emotions, you know.
True,
So you
true.
like learn and you grow from your different emotions. And at the end of the movie, actually, there's a scene where, you know, the control panel where they control Riley, they get a
Yeah,
bigger control panel. So
with
I,
all the emotions.
yeah, so like, you know, and she's like getting older. So like as you get older, you feel more things, or like you're aware of feeling more things, you know?
Emotional intelligence.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, you know,
Yeah, it's true.
different for everybody and also different according to, you know, where you are in life and, you know, what you've learned and stuff.
And well, the other thing is, I mean, in this stage in her life, I think at the beginning she was 12 years old, right? Correct me
Yeah,
if I'm
she's
wrong.
around 12,
She
11.
was 12.
Yeah.
So she was now like figuring out life, like really trying to learn about what each emotion is like and what it feels like. So she's now figuring out what is emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you said, she grew, and then she got to understand, and she became more self-aware, and well, she got emotional intelligence. So that was really amazing to see.
Yeah.
And well, when she was a 12-year-old and her mom came in the room, it had a scene where her mom said, stay our quote unquote happy girl.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I find like, it was good that the mom tried to always make sure that she felt, good. But I feel as though she could have, said that it's okay to expect and accept sadness
Yeah,
at
I
at
agree
that
with that.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. And there was I know I jump in from scene to scene here,
It's
but
okay.
it's
It's
what
okay.
it's just to make a point.
Yeah, it's okay.
So like there were the scene where Fear, when she stood up in the middle of the class, and
Hmm.
Fear said, "Pretend we can't speak English," and then
Yeah.
Fear started saying, "They're judging us." So emotions like this, it's okay, but
Mm-hmm.
what's important is you have to accept it.
I agree
And that was
with what you said about her mom because like especially at an age like that and she just moved to a new house. So and she has to like change schools, she has to make new friends and like you know that's a lot for her to handle at that age.
at that
So
age, yeah.
definitely obviously experiencing all of that she wouldn't be happy all the time. So definitely her mom saying something like, you know, it's okay if you know this is overwhelming, that would have definitely
Yeah.
helped her. I didn't think about that, but that would have definitely helped her.
You see how like after she said that, right? That statement.
Hmm.
After that, all the emotion she felt after that was overwhelming her.
Yeah.
That just goes to see that, parents and teachers also should be very mindful of what they tell persons or their students or children at that tender age,
Yeah.
be very mindful of what you tell your kids,
Mhm.
because it would have an impact on their minds.
Mhm.
And emotions at that age is a very big thing for them because, they're not figuring it out.
Yeah.
And
Very
just like Sadness said, crying helps me, crying actually helps too. It's okay to
yeah.
cry.
Yeah.
So all
And
of that,
just like speaking on the whole crying helps thing, and coming back to the balance of emotions, and you said earlier, you can't be happy all the time, and
yeah,
that's like very unrealistic. And there was a scene in the movie where Joy and Sadness are trying to get back to headquarters, and they meet up with I think his name was Bill Bong,
yeah,
um the imaginary
imaginary
friend.
friend,
Yeah. And there's a scene where they're waiting for the train or something, and he's feeling really really overwhelmed, and Joy's like, no, we can get through it, try to
yeah.
like think positive, whatever. And then Sadness sits down with Bill Wong, and he starts crying, and they have a little moment, and then he feels better. So like,
See,
yeah, so like, embracing sad emotions instead of like trying to push them away help.
force happiness, yeah,
Yeah, and Joy realizes that, I can't do that. Like she was like, "Oh, Sadness, how did you do that?" Because Joy, like even though joy is a good emotion, it can't do the things that sadness can do, and
I
vice
agree.
versa. So like you need the both of them.
Exactly. And as I say, you can't force happiness. It's
Yeah.
not good. You can't, you just can't.
You
I
definitely
mean,
need the balance, yeah.
yes. And we keep talking about bans, but it's only because it's needed. For your mental health, you need to have a good balance. You can't just, try to be happy all the time. Optimism is great. Nobody says you can't be optimistic or have an optimistic view on life, but
Hmm.
it's okay to embrace the other emotions.
Yeah. And you also like see the consequences of joy trying to be in control all the time. Like she ends up in the place with all the forgotten memories. And then
Yeah.
sadness ends up saving the day.
Yes.
So
See?
like you can't be it just comes back to like you can't be happy all the time. And we try so hard to like avoid being sad and avoid situations or like experiences or whatever that we think would make us sad, but you need sadness and you need grief and you need pain and you need all of those things that we see to be negative. You need all of those things to like learn and grow about yourself. I mean, learn about yourself and
Yeah.
learn about your world and your environment. Like you need to experience negative things.
I mean, I believe that these emotions are necessary, and the reason why I like the emotion sadness is because sadness gives you a different perspective on the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
As in it makes you reflect, but reflect from and look at things from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you get to learn. When you're happy all the time and you're just jolly, you don't really learn because you're just happy. There's no room for growth because it's not needed. But with these other emotions, there is room for growth, and there is always room for, you get to reflect and you get to grow.
I think,
So,
yeah, I agree with you. And I think that with dealing with and like embracing emotions like sadness, you also like learn to empathize with people and empathize with yourself. And similar to the scene with Bill Bong, I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog bark.
yeah,
Similar to the scene with Bill Bong, there's a scene closer to the end after Riley, and then like not having all the emotions together, anger took control, and then Riley decided she was gonna run away from home, you know which shows
yeah,
again that you need the balance. But going back to what I was saying, there's a scene where Riley decides, this is kind of crazy, and she comes back home. She's talking to her parents and she starts crying, and she's like, oh, mom and dad, this experience is so overwhelming for me and I'm not really happy right now. And
yeah,
she was able to like fix that situation, not fix the situation, but make the situation better, because she expressed herself to her parents and they were understanding, and then from that point on, things got a little bit better. So
Yeah,
she was embracing that overwhelming feeling, instead of like being like, oh, I'm gonna run away from home and then things will be better. Which
yeah, she
just
embraced
goes
it.
to show that you still need the balance.
Yeah. The other thing is, well, as a graphic designer, I had to talk about the cool stuff that happened in the movie too, right?
Yeah.
So the, what's his name? Bong Bong. I always keep
So I think it's Bill.
mixing it up.
I think it's Bill.
Being Bill Bong. Yeah. So he invited them to, take a shortcut to go on the train of thought, and they went in abstract thought. But what stood out to me is that before they actually went in abstract thought, is that sadness was being sadness, but at the same time sadness was kind of being realistic and thinking, well, I don't think this is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, joy was, ready to go, just wanna get happy, but
Mm-hmm.
sadness actually kind of, made logic out of it.
Yeah, a more realistic
A
view.
more realistic
Yeah.
view. And she was actually right. Because when they went into abstract thought and they went through these stages and they came out, they realized that, sadness was right. Well, that was my view.
Mm-hmm.
Sad not you can't sometimes to me, like just in general, also from the movie,
Mm-hmm.
like when it is you're optimistic and you're joyful all the time, you would be quick to do things.
Mm-hmm.
You would also be quick to do things. And sometimes you would need the other emotions helps. It helps to make you think about what it is you're going to do before you actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
So just like, fear, like when fear comes into the mind, it's good because it makes you think of possible outcomes
Mm-hmm.
and it makes you also think about reasons why I shouldn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't always bad. So yeah, I actually love this movie simply because I mean not only of the fact that it's an animation and I love animation
Yeah.
and I love the colors. I mean Disney did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Pixar did a great job in portraying these characters and they didn't make it so complex to say that kids can't understand the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It touch both kids and adults,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean kids and adults will have different perspectives, or from looking at the movie they would have different views on it, but at the same time it touched the hearts of a lot of people. Especially me, it was an amazing movie,
Yeah.
and it did teach me about balancing emotions. It's okay to accept certain emotions and not neglect them,
Yeah.
and it's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree
yes,
with you, because like I think that children watching this, and it's not like an old movie, but it's not like a new movie. So I
yeah,
think that children who have seen it, specifically around that same age, I think it's easy for them to relate to what's going on,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not
completely.
like unfathomable to them, and they could like to the scene where Riley is introducing herself to the class. A lot of
Yes,
children, even like me, and like I could relate to that, because it's
same.
like that's a very very simple situation, but like what goes on in your mind is very complex. And I think that a lot of children watching the movie would be like, oh, I actually feel those same things and I experience that. And introducing myself in front of the class is difficult for me, just like it is for Riley.
Yeah, I could relate to Riley, and I would say the same thing. I mean, just like the movie portrayed, when the teacher asks me to, stand up and say something about yourself. First thing that actually comes to my head is fear. You know, it actually it's realistic, and fear is a realistic emotion.
Hmm. And
So
it's an important emotion. Like
yes, it
we
is.
need again,
Every emotion.
yeah, you need the balance of emotions, And I think I was reading something about this movie and I saw someone mention prioritizing happiness instead of like trying to achieve constant happiness, which makes sense to me in terms of like you can try to choose, like you wouldn't intentionally put yourself in a situation where you know you would be unhappy, even though you could choose a situation that you think would make you happy and it still won't. But I think that like trying to do things that would make you happy is okay, but like trying to be constantly happy would not make sense. So like
Yeah,
choose, like one day you would be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and you choose things that make you happy, but then you also take like mental health days to be like, okay, well, I'm not having such a great day and I kind of need a break, and this is very overwhelming, instead of being like, no, I could push through it and da, da, da. Like you have to like keep going, but you also have to like step back and give yourself a break.
that's as is called that self-care, as I say,
Mhm.
self-care. Self-care doesn't mean just physical, but also mentally. Self-care could just be something simple as, putting on a face mask, watching your favorite TV show, movie, lying down in your room and just thinking about, you know, certain choices that you made, certain things that made you happy,
Mhm.
the people, appreciate the people in your life, certain, just like the little treasures in life.
Yeah.
It's,
And also I think that um uh a topic that's come up a lot that I've seen is toxic positivity, which is,
yeah,
I think, really important to talk about because we do live in like a time where it's like you have to keep grinding and like keep working all the time and keep pushing yourself and try to like find things that make you happy and do things that make you happy and da, da, da. But it's like that can be very very overwhelming because on a daily basis you're not happy all the time. And I think some people feel bad that they don't feel happy all the time. And I think that sometimes even when you feel like sad or you just feel down, it's not that you've done something to feel bad, or that you didn't do anything intentionally to make yourself feel sad. Like sometimes a wave of sadness just happens and that's like out of your control. So like you shouldn't feel bad if you're just having an off day. And you shouldn't push yourself to be happy all the time because that's going to put you in a worse situation. So I think toxic positivity, it is something that people have started talking about, and I think that we should continue that conversation because it is important. And every day or like every other day people post stuff about being happy and making choices that would make you happy, and like even I post like quote unquote inspirational quotes. But
yeah.
like you could post all those things, like going on social media and being like bombarded with all of this like positive content, and positive content in terms of like you need to be happy, not like actual like
Yeah,
happiness
like
or anything, can make
why
it
is it
overwhelming.
frowned upon? Like why can't we just be expressive if it is we're not having a good day? Why is that frowned
Yeah.
upon? Why is that bad?
Yeah, it's unrealistic to be happy. Like nobody, even if they seem like it, nobody is happy all the time because you just
Yeah.
can't be happy all the time.
And so social media just portrays, I mean, it's just everyone tries to portray a happy life. I mean,
Mhm.
let's be real. Everyone do try to portray that they live a happy life.
Yeah.
Um, but one thing I would like you guys to check out, and not it's not my plug, it's not my book, but it's a friend of mine that wrote this book. The name of the book is The Millennial Mind. I
Mhm.
don't know if you guys probably heard of it, but it actually the book talks about struggles of millennials and trying to be happy all the time. The book is very real and it talks about, what millennials go through in a from birth straight up till adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book, there's also affirmations. So, and there's also self-reflection. So there's a part where you could reflect on what you just read and input your own personal experience, and then the affirmation is there to, help
Mm-hmm.
build positive thoughts. So, yeah,
Well,
you
I
guys could check it out.
I think that sounds really good. So I hope people do check it out. And
Yeah,
I think like the whole affirmations thing is also like good.
yeah,
I've been trying to do some personally, and not just for like there's a lot of affirmations, not just for like I'm gonna be happy today or I'm gonna have a good day, but just like, being okay with the things that make you you, or like things that might be difficult. I think
yeah.
affirmations do help a lot. They might sound silly when you first like start doing it or whatever, but I think they do help. So
The law of attraction, people.
yeah, I think it's good that your friend did that. So that's really good.
So, I would like to say thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you so much again for this opportunity. It was a great one, and truly, this movie made me kind of reflect on my own self and how I deal with my own emotions. And I think this movie actually helps me become more aware of my emotions,
Hmm.
kind of, you know, um, grows my emotional intelligence a bit.
Hmm.
So, thank you so much for, you know, telling me to watch this movie. And I mean, it was great. It was great.
No, yeah, it is it gives a very good message of, you need to have a balance of emotions, and you need to embrace negative emotions, because negative emotions like sadness is vital to your well-being. So it is a good movie. And like the storyline is also interesting, and the characters are very likable. So all
Yes.
around I think it's a good movie.
Also, I would like you guys, well, Jalen, I don't know if you would like them to do this too, but if you guys could put like, affirmations in the comments.
Oh yeah, that would be
So
cool.
yeah, that, start something and just continue the thread.
Hmm.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. I would like that.
So, Jalen, you first.
um, to like say an affirmation.
No, you could start it in the comment
Oh,
section.
okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's no problem. I'll do that. So that's basically it for this episode. Again, this movie is a really, really enjoyable way of learning about the need for a balance of emotions, as well as the need for negative emotions like sadness. Sadness saved the day in the movie. So
yeah,
I encourage you. It's a pretty popular movie, I think. Like
and
some
I
people
think
before,
anyone would enjoy it.
yes, anyone of any age would enjoy it.
Yes.
People said before that I did like older movies, and I should do like more new movies. And I mean, this is kind of new, so I hope you guys have seen it. If you haven't, please do watch it. It's good. And Angeline, thank you so much for being on this episode. I
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it. This course has been crazy.
I know.
So, so thank you so much. I enjoyed doing this collaboration. Angeline's channel will be linked in the description. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share,
Yes,
and
subscribe.
subscribe to her channel. She makes very nice animations. I've watched them. They're very cute. I really enjoy. So thank you again. Thanks everyone for listening. Also, we did this episode on Zoom. So if the audio sounds crazy, I do apologize, but the production value on this channel has always been crazy. So, but anyways, thank you, Angeline, and thank you everyone for listening. And I will talk to you guys on the next episode.